Hello, streamers. I am excited for today's topic, but here's the deal. I have something to admit. Okay, so you come to me. We're live 4 days a week, doing videos for you. We connect on email and in the Lita challenge that's going on right now. We're connecting in a lot of ways, and I hear from you constantly, constantly. You're afraid. You're fearful of getting on camera. You're fearful of putting yourself out there. You are afraid to be you, or you don't feel like you when you're on camera. And there's a lot of fear going on. That's why we actually do the Lita challenge live every day in August and April, so that we can help you get more confident on camera and that we can help you get over those fears. But I always tell you, when you say these things to me, how many of you in the chat room have said these things to me? Every single name that I see popping up right now has said that to me. Like, I am fearful of the camera. I don't want to get started. But when you say that to me, I actually say to you, just do it. Just do it and get past those fears. The only way that you can get past those fears is by doing it and putting yourself out there. And I tell you that people aren't going to judge you. I tell people that are going to support you, right? I tell you all of these things, and then I freaking didn't listen to my own advice. That's what I have to admit today. I did not listen to my own advice because I was scared about putting myself out there in a bigger way. So I always put myself out there on camera. I am constantly out there. But I also had 2 years ago, I think it was. I need to actually count the years. But I think it was about 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do a podcast about being uniquely you and really digging into the concept of fake authenticity and reaching a point of true vulnerability. And I ran scared for 2 years away from that concept when I put it out there because everybody was so into the idea. That seems screwed up, I know. Right? I know. And by the way, hello, James Riley. First time watching this live. I'm so glad that you're here. So I ran scared from putting that podcast out there for 2 years because I was afraid to put my true vulnerability forward because it requires me to dig a little deeper with you. And I finally did it today. Woo! I finally put out the podcast that I've been intending and wanting to do, and that has been eating away at my brain for 2 years. And this is me practicing the true vulnerability. Woohoo! TubeBuddy, now a member. Thank you, TubeBuddy. I love you, Andrew, or whoever's behind that one. So this podcast, the Uniquely You Show, which the link is in the description and coming to you in the comments, is me practicing what I preach. It's me putting myself out there in a much bigger, more vulnerable way to remove the fake authenticity, which we're going to dig into today, what authentic really means, what vulnerable really means, and all of those things. So I want you to really allow yourself to be vulnerable with me in the comments today, so that we can actually have this conversation. Okay, so, right? Anthony says, fear, what's that? No, not me. So I know that the world needs connection right now. And we keep talking about on Livestream Pros, we have talked about since the craziness started earlier this year, connection, not perfection, right? And everybody really wants to be perfect. We all want to be perfect. I mean, honestly, it's part of just being a human being, but we don't want you to act on that need for perfection because we want you, sorry, I just didn't know if I hit the wrong button there. We don't want you to act on that perfection. We want you to really be truly authentically you on camera in the background that you create. This is a temporary setup. Obviously, I'm in my new place, as people pointed out. But I really want to kind of dig into that today. So I saw somebody post earlier what authentic really means to them. I think it was April Roga. She said that what authentic, the word authentic, means to her was really believing everything that you say. Woohoo! Redry Media, welcome. Thank you so much for becoming a member. This is not a green screen. So really believing everything that you say. I would say it goes, let me just kind of describe what my version of authenticity means. And I would love for all of you in the comments right now to actually say what you believe being authentic means. Because here's the deal, and I talk about this more in depth in the podcast episode that I just released. But the world is needing connection. It's needing authenticity, but we are still holding ourselves back in a much bigger, like a huge way, by perfecting that authenticism. Does that make sense? It is really all about what we put out there on camera, in our social media posts. It's this fake authenticity because it's us, it's our personality, yet it's holding back from the real rawness that exists in us and the things that we think people won't like. And that is not okay. So some definitions coming in. Being authentic is who you are and not what necessarily the world expects. Love that explanation, Dave. James says simply being yourself to the fullest. No, it is not a green screen. I am in my new home, and you'll see this being built out over the next few weeks. Hetcher, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. The real you. Authentic plus the real me or the real you. Yes. So Michael, sorry. The podcast is out now. We link to it, and you will actually be able to see, there's a Spotify link already. It's still being populated at all of the different places. So right now it's available on Spotify and hopefully Apple Music soon. But you can listen to it at least for now, and then subscribe where you want to as soon as that is taken care of. So being authentic is showing all of the complexities of who you are in a moment. If only one shows up, it's being aware that there's more of you too. That's great. I love that insight. Really, really great. Okay. Nothing exposes your authentic side like starting a channel to expose the global deception, the amount of globe. Okay. Yes. So if you've done that, I'm guessing that's what you've done. So you're like putting yourself out there a bit, which is, I'm sure, hard, right? Yeah, something's up with my autofocus. We're going to be dialing everything in today. So my apologies. Just bear with me. We're being authentic. No, I'm just joking. So for me, what authenticity means in terms of you putting yourself on camera and you fully integrating your personality into your content is, of course, being you, right? Like authenticity means being you, but what does that even mean? Well, I would say that it means embracing both your strengths and your weaknesses. And we are easy to identify, and we discovered this during the Lita challenge going on right now. It's not too late to join, by the way, if you do want to get more confident on camera, livestreamingpros.com/Lita. We discovered that it's really easy for us to identify our flaws and our weaknesses, and less easy for us as human beings to identify and embrace our strengths. Does anybody feel like that as well? And so I believe that it's really about bringing all of those things, your strengths and your weaknesses, to the forefront. Being okay, not feeling vain to put your strengths out there. That's really hard for a lot of us. myself included. Also, not wrapping yourself up. Woohoo, Fortuna! Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Imani says, I like that, Luria. Thank you. And I would also say that being authentic is not wrapping yourself up in a perfect little package for people. And maybe that's kind of the core of what I believe is what we do with this fake authenticity that we're putting out in the world. And it's all over social media. It's all over the videos that you see on YouTube and Facebook. And I speak to this concept of wrapping myself up into a perfect little package inside the podcast that's brand new, by the way. I'm so excited that I put it out there because it was just like something that I've been holding on to for 2 years. But I speak to that about it in there, but I want to make sure that you understand what I mean by this perfect little package. And that is that we say we're authentic when we put maybe a couple of flaws out there or a little personality traits, but that we hide away certain things. We tend to know what society will accept, or we think that we know what people want to hear from us. And those are often the pretty little things, right? And not the mistakes or the things that we do wrong or the things that we identify as flaws but other people don't. There's so much that we wrap up and we wrap into a perfect little present for people that we deliver to people. And can you hear the noises out there? This is another challenge. I am shooting videos about my studio build out and the challenges that I'm facing with the lighting and the background and the noise. The autofocus does seem to be like going insane today. I don't know why. Anyway, so that's kind of what I see as how we do that fake authenticity, is like wrapping this perfect little present up to deliver to the world. And we put in some of the bad, but not all of the bad. And what does vulnerable mean? Like if I say, okay, so at the beginning of this, I said, this podcast is me practicing true vulnerability that I ask of you. And I've been doing video for 15 freaking years coming up in December. It will be my 15th anniversary, which is crazy to think about. But I feel like, there's not much left for me to like put out there on camera. Although there is, right? But it's so easy for me to show up on camera and just be me. And last year I decided to start doing the dancing in the videos so that I could challenge myself a little bit, because that was something that I fantasize about doing in my own personal life of getting back into dance and choreography and things like that. But it's really about kind of pushing ourselves, right? And so when I think about what being vulnerable is, I don't think that it means that we all have to cry all the time, by the way. I don't think that it means that you're sad all the time. I also don't think it means that you need to put all of your like emotional stories out there. You can, for sure, because that is part of your vulnerable story and your raw experiences. But I also think those can be turned into lessons. Those can be turned into fun. Those can be an experience for people to hear and to see a different perspective. In the Lita Challenge, we were actually talking about that this morning, where when you actually speak about your experiences and where you actually put yourself out there, you actually are able to help others, because they're probably going through the same things as you, right? You can touch and you can inspire and you can help other people going through some of the same things that you've gone through. and it can be a beautiful, positive thing. It doesn't have to. Being vulnerable and being raw doesn't have to be this emotional like thing that's full of crying, right? But it can get that way. Okay, so hold on. Corrine says, mastering online intimacy is difficult. Knowing what is the right balance between saying too much or revealing too much, and whether it's safe to do so beyond settings like this one. I'm nervous about that. Totally get that. And that's actually one of the podcast episodes that I have planned for the Uniquely You podcast, is diving really deep into that conversation of how much is too much. Are there allowed to be boundaries? Are there allowed, if you're going to remove the fake authenticity and be truly vulnerable, are you allowed to have some things that you don't talk about, some things that you don't put out there? And I believe, yes, I believe you are able to. So I think that that's just identifying those things for yourself. And so we will be discussing that in more depth during the podcast and as we kind of move forward. As you guys know, Wednesdays, I really talk about strategy, and I help you put yourself out there on camera. I also help you, like, on Wednesday shows. Like, we talk a lot about tech around here, but as we've kind of moved past like the heavy tech that we needed to do so much during the crazy times, I really want you to stand out. I want you to stand out in your audience growth, in your content creation, and in the way you build your business and the content that you're creating online. Okay. Paul, what happens if you're perfect? What occurs? Perfect people don't have flaws to share and then have a hard time being accepted. Perfect people have it so hard asking for a friend. Yes, Paul, we all know how perfect you are. But nobody is perfect, obviously. I think that was funny, but it's like, we view other people as perfect. I know that a lot of people over the 15 years of me doing content creation have viewed me as perfect. And honestly, that is partly for 10 years when I was going by my alias. Like, that was a perception I was putting out there, right? Ugh. That's not good. So I really don't I don't think that, I don't know. It's so tough to identify those things, but I think that that's some of the work that I really want to do with you guys in the future, is identifying like how you avoid putting out that perfect, because it's really natural for us, because we want people to like us. So it can be a thought process, and it can be difficult. James, being open to comments about you and how you live your life, the good and the bad and the ugly of your life, and how you can grow from those experiences. I love that. And I think you're speaking to the vulnerable part of that. And, you know, I'm a big believer that sorry, I lost my track of my thought. Hold on, what were we saying? I'm a big believer in something. I'm a big believer in listening to comments made about you and to you. So, for example, if somebody says something to me in my personal life that doesn't gel well with me, I always take a step back and I say, does this hold truth or not for me? And I do the same with YouTube comments. Those of you creating content, which is pretty much all of you, we have a tendency to just throw out negative comments. And I think that there are some that are absolutely just throw outable. But I also think that it's worth it to look at some of the more constructive criticism and say, does this hold truth for me? And take what you need out of it in order to grow and get better. I know, Aussie. Don't worry, guys. This is all temporary. I just moved. I just moved. I'm recording videos, a series of videos. I got to get light control in here. I got to get actual background stuff in here. I don't have my furniture yet. So just bear with me. Bear with me. Perfect is intimidating. Yes, it really is. And we see that all the time. Okay, so when we think about being perfect and we create that pretty little package, you see people fall so hard when people discover that they're not perfect, right? We see that with celebrities. We see that with online what's the word? Influencers. Like what's the word? So it really is not to your advantage to put a perfect self out there, because otherwise you will wind up falling hard when people discover you're not who they thought you were. I've seen it recently with some big online influencers, and Amy Porterfield actually is a great example of how she has evolved. She didn't have to fall. That was the beauty of her transition, is that she didn't have any big thing go down, but she started being more vulnerable in her content and with her audience, and she did seem perfect. Like, she's an amazing speaker. She is amazing at teaching. She's amazing at everything she does. She is pretty perfect, but she also started integrating some of the flaws or the insecurities about herself and putting that out there, and it has created such a deeper relationship with her audience, and it's so freaking beautiful. So I can't wait to dig in with some of these specific topics and really like go further. Creativity Playground. I would think your profession can limit how authentic one can be. I'm definitely me when I go live, but there are some things I can't or won't reveal as a teacher and a role model. So that's where that's where the limits come in that I was talking about earlier. The potential for limits, right? You can have some limits. However, I would also challenge you. I would also challenge you to not think that you have to, because I bet you could go further than you think you can. Yes. Karma, you don't know that about me? Yeah, I went by Callie Lewis for 10 years. I talk about that in the podcast as well. I think perfectionism is rooted in shame. That's a beautiful insight, Corinne. Yes. Corinne, I'm sorry. It absolutely is. I would totally agree with that. Anthony says, struggling with what if or when authenticity or vulnerability is not good enough. What do you mean by that, Anthony? What if or when authenticity or vulnerability is not good enough? Can you dive into that a little bit for me? Spirit says, it seems to me it's a balance. One needs to project confidence and authority related to the content while not boxing yourself in as perfect. Right. Okay. So yes, when I speak about live video, I don't, right. So live video is what I teach, right? Confidence on camera is what I teach. I don't want to come across as not knowing what I'm doing, right? Of course, because who's going to trust somebody who's flailing and has no idea how to actually go live? If I'm teaching you how to go live and I have no idea how to go live, no one's going to pay attention to that. There's a difference between you being your authority in your space and you putting yourself out there and your insecurities out there or your story out there, right? And being authentic. And by the way, authenticity, it's not just about the things that you've experienced, the things that have gone wrong in your life. It's also about silly little things. Like for me, I don't talk well. Like I stumble over my words sometimes, and my brain is going too fast for my mouth. And so sometimes I combine phrases. I don't know pop culture references. All of those things are flaws to me. But I can integrate those into my content and on my on-camera presence where it's a fun, funny, engaging thing for the audience, because it is human. It's not perfect, but I don't take myself too seriously and I just laugh at it, right? All right. Wait, hold on. Well, thank you, Dr. Elo. He likes the background. Thanks, Larry. Jorge says, your challenge just changed my life. I broke the fear to speak in front of the camera, and even better, I can do Facebook Lives without any fear. Only took me 5 days of challenge to change. I can't imagine how I will feel after the 30 days. Yes! So Jorge is talking about the Lita Challenge, which is going on right now, and it's not too late to join, where you go live in a private, safe environment for 30 days straight, and I tell you exactly what to do, what to say, and we give you support in a private place so that you can get over these fears and you can learn about yourself and how you put yourself out there. All right. Hey, Rob, how are you? Some real talk here today. Expect more of it. Expect more of it. What do you guys think? You tell me. Are you enjoying the real talk? The deeper talk. I tend to save that for some more private places. Oops, sorry. I don't know why I posted that one. I don't know. I don't know if somebody, it seems like there are some tech issues on the YouTube side or Chrome side or something. There's a lot of chatter in my team talking about it, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But do you like this discussion today? Do you want more of this type of discussion of really like how to put your personality into your content a little bit more? Being authentic doesn't mean full disclosure. I agree. And I think some people do think that I know that some people do think that it means full disclosure, but I don't think that it does, personally speaking. Authenticity does not equal, oh, hey, you said that too. Or did I just push the same comment? Wait, I don't know. I would think that there's a difference between being authentic and respecting boundaries to what you reveal publicly. Yeah, and a perfect example of that is when I was going through a divorce. My ex was putting all of his side out there, and I was like, this isn't right. This is not something I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the details. And still to this day, I don't even talk about some of the details of my divorce because, well, for a lot of reasons, but one, it's no one's business, and I can be fully authentic without sharing all the details of everything. Plus, it kind of goes so bad that there's some things that would just probably form to make people uncomfortable. So I'm kind of saving you, but yeah, so I believe that there are certainly some boundaries that you can put into place and still be fully, truly you out there. Sharing this into my group. Thank you so much, Rob. You're freaking awesome. I guess you could say you're living your best life. I'm so ashamed. Oh, you're such a dork, Paul. I love that. I am for competence without perfection. Great. Guys, it's from the heart. Yes, totally. I don't speak good. I don't. No, that was just bad grammar, Susan. That was just bad grammar, and my apologies for that. There's one word difference between confidence and arrogance. Intent. There's a one word difference between confidence and arrogance, and that is intent. Yeah, you're right. That took me like 2 times to read to get it. But yes, for sure. You had no idea I used an alias. A lot of people don't, because I don't actually talk about that much these days. It's not really relevant, except for when it is in a discussion like this. I only found out about you 90 days ago. Oh, really, Karma? I feel like you've been here in our world for like forever. Have you really only been here for 90 days? That's insane. Aw, I love Pat. I'm so glad that he connected us. Okay. So apparently YouTube is being really glitchy today. I don't know. and then sometimes claiming yourself as an authority on anything could be difficult for somebody who doesn't have an expertise or something to offer. So we're diving into that inside of the Lita Challenge for sure. And that's really dealing with imposter syndrome, or maybe you're really just, if you cannot speak about the thing that you're wanting to speak about, you shouldn't just do it. Good. Okay. I asked, Red Rum Media. I thought that's what it said. I love that. I love your name. It says, yes, that you're enjoying this content. Yes, love it. Always up for real talk. Yes, fantastic. I feel like I'm actually paying attention to myself again. Desperately needed in this time. I think it's desperately needed in this time for everybody, right? Like, this is a crazy time in the world, and I think it serves us all to be more self-aware and dive into who we are, what we want. Like, let's prioritize, but also let's be real with each other. We can't even connect with each other like we used to. So let's put ourselves out there in a more vulnerable way so that we can have those deeper relationships. Okay. Speaking of authenticity, Rob exudes authenticity in his videos and when he is a guest on other people's shows. Yes, Rob is fantastic. Hey, maybe he should come on the show sometime. I was neglecting my emotional canvas. That's a beautiful... Girl, you just are like all in it with the insights. I love it. Not good because you are being rejected. Example, talking about faith to an atheist. Love this discussion. And that's so, I mean, that's a whole other subject of like when to speak out about certain things and where it's okay to speak out about it and how you want to present your environment for your audience, right? Because when we're actually trying to create content, we need to create the environment that we want our audience to feel at home in. And, some of those things can certainly come up. Okay, so now I'm reading Andy's comment. It's nice for me to put off doing my Lita Deeper talk. Go do it, Andy. No excuses for today. You've made it 4 days in a row. What's another day just to put yourself out there in the Lita Challenge? I want to hear more about the authenticity, full disclosure balance. Awesome. Okay, then I will prioritize that. It seems to be a topic that a lot of people are actually kind of picking up on. So I'll prioritize that in the Uniquely You podcast, and that is brand new as of today. It's just the first episode. I'm going to go super deep on those topics so that we can really dig into these conversations. And then, I want us to have a place like here as well that we can dig into the conversations together as well. But yeah. Oh, that's true. If YouTube is bothering you, if YouTube is getting all glitchy on you today, because apparently it is, we are over on Facebook as well. So thank you, Kathleen, for saying that. I'd love to hear more about that balance too. Awesome. It's healthy to have your own secrets sometimes. Actually, I want to say this. So, iJustine, who knows iJustine? I don't know if this audience would, but she's been around as long as I have, and she has stayed in the tech kind of space over the years, and I got out of it. She's stayed in it. She's really like huge in that space. And she actually mentioned recently that she had been doing Tai Chi or something like that, and she never spoke about it. And she tells all in her social media and her videos, as do I feel like I do too, right? And like we tout that is to kind of involve your audience in your life. But she mentioned that she had been doing Tai Chi or whatever it is, I may be wrong on that, for about a year, I think it was, and before she spoke up about it. And she needed that one thing that she was doing as a personal thing that she wasn't putting out there. And those are the types of things that we will definitely dig into, because there are a couple of reasons why you might need that boundary, right? Yes, definitely. David shares details of everything for sure. Overshare is never needed. People have to have some privacy and boundaries. I would say share what is pertinent to the discussion and be genuine, but you don't need to share everything. Such great insights. I love this. Tony, I'm usually sincere, so I thought, but this challenge is really making me think twice and having a deeper look at myself. I'm so happy to hear that, Tony. And that's, that the first week of the Lita challenge is certainly giving you the opportunity to dig in and actually really see what's going on in here and in here. All right. I'm overly comfortable sharing things about myself, but I really value privacy. I'm afraid of saying things I will later regret. And that's really about taking the time to identify privately what those things are. What boundaries do you have? What things are you really okay, or what would you regret later? And I think we all know that. It's just saying that out loud, or like really identifying it, putting it on paper. Okay. Is that how long you've been here? Yes. It's so funny because that's what I love about live video, is how amazing the connection is, right? Like, I feel like you guys are just my family, my friends. I feel like we have such great connections through live video because we're hanging out all the time. Yay me. So that it feels like we're just together all the time, and that I know you, and that it's been forever. Okay, more. Good. What's holding me back? Well, Luria called me a dork, and well, that's broken me. Oh, no, when I say dork, it is a term of endearment, big time. I only call people dorks who I adore. Okay, I just cracked myself up. Did you get that? I hope okay, I'm just gonna move on. I am using the Sony a5100. This is not dialed in at all. By the way, guys, this is not dialed in at all. Don't cry into Oreos. Please don't. No. Life's too short to be pretending to be somebody else. You are awesome just the way you are, as the song said in the countdown. I love that song. I love that song so much. It's one of my favorite songs that I use in the countdown timer. No, absolutely not. This is a completely free challenge. And so just come on in. livestreamingpros.com/Leda, Leda. Oh, everybody knows Justine. Okay. You all know Justine. I'm catching up on comments. I'm just going to scroll. Lots of talk about Oreos, apparently. By the way, those of you who are, it's something about trolls I saw. If you're worried about trolls, if you're worried about what people say, then just know that is something we actually are talking about inside of the Leda challenge. So we'll deal with that. Yeah, Justine is awesome. She's still at it. She's still just going strong. She actually just started a conference last year. Of course, now we can't do conferences, but exactly. I adore you because you're adorkable. Woo! Oh, now I'm upsetting people. Sorry. Say, new podcast, great news. Is there a reason why you didn't choose Anchor to go with it? Spotify is not my friend, but so it's not only available on Spotify. It's just that I just published it this morning, probably an hour before we went live here. So it just hasn't populated everywhere. So that link, check back, tomorrow or the next day, and it should be populated in all the different places. It just takes time, just as it does with Anchor. So I just did a bunch of research on Libsyn, Anchor. I'm using Buzzsprout, I think. I did a bunch of research. Pat Flynn said Buzzsprout or whatever it is the way to go. So that's what I did. And everybody else was saying the same thing. So And Jar, I've been around for a month now. I'm blown away by this channel. Larry, you're always doing a good job. I'm amazed at how you can do this. I'm happy to be in the Lita Challenge. Well, we are thrilled to have you here. So thank you for participating. I love that live video allows us to connect so quickly and deepen the relationship so quickly. So thank you for that. Paul said, how did you feel after publishing your first podcast episode? Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous as hell. Right before the show, I was like feeling the butterflies, and because that was like the first time I was gonna say like, hey, it's out there. And I couldn't sleep last night because I was like, is it going to fly? Is it going to go over well? Are people going to like it? Like, you guys, you're not alone in these feelings. I know I can show up on camera and do a good job and be me and all of that good stuff, which is what I teach you how to do. But I am not perfect, as we were talking about. I am not I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Immune. I am not immune to feeling the same feelings you guys feel. So I was nervous. I had butterflies. I am feeling like crying right now. But it's been 2 years in the making, and it's been something that has been just eating away at my heart that I needed to do. And I know that I have a lot of work to do in the future with this podcast, where it's going to take me in vulnerable places that I try and brush off. And so, yeah, scared, nervous, all of the things is how I feel, but so happy, so excited to actually push myself. Like, this is a pushing of myself, just like I ask you to do inside of the Lita Challenge, inside of the courses that we have, inside of all of these live streams that I do. So how's that for an answer? Oh, don't you worry, Sydney. Don't you worry. You should stay tuned. Okay. Okay. Callie, if I missed anything, let me know. I'm just scrolling right down to the end. Did you already describe how you produced it? Tech team, just you and the phone. Okay. I literally just used Ecamm and recorded it with my USB mic because it's all I had. And I tell you all the time, connection, not perfection. Just get it done. I had a lot of room audio. It's not good audio for a podcast. So David went in and like put a music bed in it and covered up the bad audio and actually put some pizzazz into it, which I loved. So thank you. Huge thank you to Dave. I've changed your name, David. Huge thank you to David for taking care of it and fixing it. But it wasn't good. I will tell you that. It was just done. And I just knew I needed to do it and put it out there. So I will be getting set up for good audio and good all of that stuff. David is working to put together like a kit for me. So yeah, so there you go. It's nothing fancy. This makes you all the more qualified to help others find their voice in spite of insecurities. Why, thank you, Catherine. Thank you. Can't wait to hear the podcast, dork. I'm sure it's solid and you have no reason to be scared or nervous. Well, thank you. I did prepare heavily for it, and like, because I really wanted this first one to like say, I wanted it to get the point across that I needed to get to, across. So, hi, Greg. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. I miss you. Why haven't you been around, dude? Why? Yes and no, scared of what's coming up, excited for what things can be, and sad of the things I have to give up to stay focused. I think you're having a conversation with somebody else, but I will encourage you nonetheless. I don't know what you're talking about exactly. Wait, hold on. What did Mark say? Was that Mark in here? Yeah, Mark Hopkins. Oh, I've used them all. Libsyn is good if you know what you're doing. I love how turnkey Anchor is. Yeah, and I've in the past, because I'm actually in the Podcast Hall of Fame. How crazy is that? But like, so I had a podcast for a long time, and it used to be video and audio, and my podcasts were video. But I had situations where in the past it was very easy to lose your feed. And so I was like, I have to make the right choice. And so I did a whole bunch of research, and I don't like the idea of losing my podcast feed. So I was like, going here, going there, like doing research. Awesome. Can't wait to hear about David's tech setup for you. Sure, it will be as excellent as your other content. He's much better at like audio than I am. That's for sure. I don't do audio. 100% better than a few days ago. No noticeable echo now. I didn't change a thing. So that's cool. It's magic. It's magic. Say, I'll follow you everywhere. I have for over a decade. I know you, girl. I love that. So happy you're going into podcasting again, particularly with Uniquely You. It's such a wonderful project. Why, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Why, thank you, Joanna. Yes, I love Ecamm. And in fact, on Thursdays, I actually do an Ecamm specific show where I go live to both the Ecamm channels and this channel. So if you didn't know that, then let us know. I mean, then join me tomorrow is what I was trying to say. Louis, new you on a podcast? Not a new me. It's just, I think you'll discover a different side of me, deeper conversations than we maybe go into in these live streams. So if you don't like that, then you may not want to subscribe. If you don't like me, don't subscribe. All right. Should podcasts be like our YouTube videos with a specific niche, not variety? Yeah, because you need to be like searched for, and you need to be kind of in a topic. I mean, there are some variety shows out there that do really well, but they tend to have audiences already. So podcasts are very search related in terms of finding the content. And I'm going to have a huge challenge with the Uniquely You show because that's like not searchable, especially the way I spell it, because I spell it differently, right? Yeah, exactly. It is really, really hard with variety shows. Oh, let's start the show. Late is late. If you're late, you have to bring cookies for everybody, just so you know. You're late, you show up late, you have to bring cookies. All right, you guys, I will be here tomorrow for Go Live Now, the Ecamm specific show, and we're talking about something. Hold on. Oh, we're talking about budget gear. I believe. Hold on. I'm looking at my list. Like, what am I talking about tomorrow? Live streaming on a budget. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. So, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then Friday, of course, David won't be joining me on Friday because he's traveling to San Francisco. So then you get an overdose of me this week. I apologize. So Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Tech Talk tomorrow, as well as live Q&A and YouTube member show on Friday. So, oh wait, on Saturday, I saw one of your videos on YouTube for the first time, and I enjoy your energy and content. Thank you for being you. Oh, thank you, James. I appreciate you. It's cool that you saw me Saturday and just like all of a sudden here on the show. That's awesome. Yes. Pat's a friend, and I didn't want to hit him up for free advice, but I was looking at his course as well. Luria overload. No. You're like, take this off the calendar, take that off the calendar. Awesome, Ishar. David is on the road again. Can't wait to get on the road again. He'll be back next week, though. I don't know if he's joining me for tomorrow. I meant to ask him when he was leaving. Anyway, I'll deal with that later. Thank you so much for having this more vulnerable conversation. My mission is to make sure that you are being you on camera so that you can grow your audience, because that's where you're going to grow your audience. Is if you stand out, you will grow your audience faster. And that's by being you. If you, what was I going to say? content creation. I want you to be you in your content creation. And that's part of what then grows your audience, right? In the way you run your business, the monetization options, the structure that you put together. I want you to be you in all of those things. Just don't do everything that everybody says to do. Like, let's stop doing that. When I first started business, I was just like, oh, like everybody says I should do this, and then I should do that, and then I did that, and then everybody says I should be this, and then everybody says this is the way to go. We got to stop that. We got to own up to our beliefs and our strengths and build our content, build our business, and grow our audience in our own unique way. So that's what you can look forward to more going forward, both on this Wednesday live streaming pros show, but also in the Uniquely You podcast that is brand new. All right, you guys, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you for the insights. I'm so going to steal some of your insights for later use and give you credit, of course. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful day. It is time, if I can find, and by the way, Friday I get to set up my Stream Deck because I'm doing a video about how I do that. But I gotta find my dance break. Here we go. Let's dance it out.
Don't you know